Good morning, grade 10. This topic is factorizing quadratic trinomials. It starts on page 104 in your textbooks. Grade 10, this is really difficult work. And before I start explaining, I want you to add to your page 104 where it says positive sign in front of C. To example 19, I want you to add A1, and then on the next page on 105, to example 20, I want you to write A2, because I am going to explain these two methods now. Okay, now if we look at a quadratic trinomial, firstly, people, the general format is ax squared plus or minus bx plus or minus c. Now, this really is important, people, because these pluses and minuses are going to determine which method. And I'm going to give each of these methods, I'm going to give a name or a letter again. So let's just start. You will have to try and watch this video a whole lot of times, people, for you to understand. Okay, so the A1 method is where your third term, the C term, is positive, and your BX term, which is your middle term, is also positive. So if you look at an example here, it's 1x squared plus 5x plus 6. So if there are two pluses here, people, then we call it method A1. Okay, for factorization, first step is you must write all factor pairs for your first term. So in this case, it's only 1 and 1. And you must write all factor pairs for your second term. So 6 can be 1 times 6, or it can be 6 times 1, or it can be 2 times 3, or it can be 3 times 2. Okay, and I have written it down here. Oh, let me just take it out of the sunlight here once again. Now we need to find the factor pair that actually gives me a sum of 5. So you must find a factor pair where the sum gives you the middle term. Okay, and in this case, people, because we've got four factor pairs here, what you really need to do is you have to try each one of these. Okay, you have to try 1 and 1 and 1 and 6. You have to also try 1 and 1 and 6 and 1. Okay, you also have to try 1 and 1 and 2 and 3. You also have to try 1 and 1 and 3 and 2. So what I have done here, I have started with my first factor pair. Then I will multiply that by the second factor pair, and it's a cross multiplication. So here I will multiply 1 times 1, which is my first bracket, 1 times 1. And in this case, it's plus because it's a plus term. Okay. Then I will multiply my second, which is 1 times 6. 1 times 6. Okay, if you calculate the bracket 1 times 1, it gives you 1. And then you got the plus, and then you got 1 times 6, which is 6. And 1 plus 6 is 7. Okay, and 7 is not my middle term. Remember, I must get my middle term. So now I have chosen the 1 and 1, 1 and 1, okay, and 2 and 3, 2 and 3, okay. So you multiply 1 times 2, 1 times 2, and then 1 times 3, 1 times 3. And if you multiply this bracket, it's give me 2 plus, okay, the second bracket, which gives me 3, which gives me a 5. So this is my middle term. My middle term is 5. Okay, now really important. Circle the factor pairs which give you the correct sum. So this is that one, that's why I've circled that, and that one, that's why I've circled that. And now important, write into your brackets the numbers that stand next to each other. So here I've got a 1 and there I've got a 2. So I write into my bracket a 1 and then I write a 2. Okay, and then my second factors is 1 and 3. I write in my first bracket 1 and I write in my first term 1 and my second term a 3. And then now really important, people, because these are both pluses, okay? Your brackets become both pluses. So now you enter your plus and your plus. Both brackets are positive, really important. So you got your 1 and 2, you got your 1 and 3, you add your plus, you add your plus. And then the last step, enter x at the first terms in the bracket. This comes from your first term, 1x squared. Okay, here I've got 1x squared. So along with my first term, okay, I must put an x and I must put an x. Right, and if you now calculate out your brackets, you multiply out your brackets, okay? First term times first term times second times first, second times second, and you calculate that, you will come up again with your trinomial. Okay, that is the first one. That is the one we call A1. Please watch this video again, people. I know this is really difficult and confusing. The only way you're going to get it is if you do it repeatedly a whole lot of times. Okay, once you watch this video, I want you to do try 19. Okay?